Welcome to James Hates Everything for this September 21st, 2024 Batman Day, as they are calling it. Of course, celebrating the 85th anniversary. And if you missed it, we celebrated that event here on the channel all day long, dropping toy videos every hour. So if you're interested in those, go check those out. In the meantime, tonight we're talking about big changes coming to the home arcade space. Should be a good one. So let's get into it. All right, before we get going, we've got a super chat right out of the gates from Kevin Clausen. He says, "Shouldn't One Up be the one laying on the ropes?" Well, thank you, sir, for the kind super chat. And well, they're the ones getting pummeled in the back of the head with that steel chair by Glen's retro show. And we will talk about that more in just a minute. And thanks everyone for dropping by. We got the Cornercade in the house. Jason, little alien again. Thank you, brother, for dropping by. We have Sergeant dropping by to say hi. And of course, Steve Sale. Nice to see you here today, my friend. And of course, Kevin here noticed it's like, oh, maybe Basic Fun is on the ropes because they are in the midst of chapter 11. Thumper Squid, thanks for dropping by. Jim the Pacers fan, always nice to see you. So Kevin says, "Hey James, what do you think of At Games Jurassic Park?" I love it. Can you tell? Ted Adam Green, thanks for dropping by. And Darren Kane says there's a job posting for a digital marketing manager at A1up. Spoiler, Darren is not going back there. And Michael B says, "I'm just here to remind James how bad his Jurassic Park ALP 4K design was." All right, guys. So let's just jump into some of these. It says it's closed now, Darren King. Now that's interesting. So actually something I wanted to start with. I adjust this. So you guys all know DMAC has left Arcade1up, and a lot of people are wondering who's going to step in and fill that gap. What is that going to look like at Arcade1up? What are we looking for? And so I thought we might just take a sneak peek at who is going to fill those holes. And first up, we have Robert Pellerin. You guys might recognize this young man from the IGN conferences, maybe a little bit of Vid Summit, but this is our new, or well, I guess he has been for a few months, but our director of public relations and communications for Arcade1up. So quickly becoming the face of Arcade1up. And you can see here he's another Canadian, so I'm sure Michael B already knows him and is already trading messages. We also have another new hire at Arcade1up. She has been with the company now for 2 months, from what I've seen, and that is Shira Shitrit, and she is their new senior marketing manager. So these are the folks now that are the public face of Arcade1up. So in case you were wondering, that's the few who has at least the public face of the future of Arcade1up. So you can see some more Gen Zers, early millennials, and Shira comes from the health services industry, so it's an interesting pivot into home arcade. But I guess if you're a marketing person, you're a marketing person. But I know some people were interested in who was going to step into DMAC's shoes, and for now, it seems like it might be those two. Uh, Michael B's already thirsting. He's gonna start simping already. Uh, Chris says, "Oh boy, that's a name." Yeah, I was very careful not to mispronounce the last name because if you pronounce the last vowel of her last name with a hard I, you have a completely different meaning there. She looks better than Dora, Kevin says. Uh, he says, Jason, it was great. So that's Ted's Saturday. Hope yours was too. So let's get to the meat of what I wanted to kind of talk to you guys all about. And of course, that is Glen's big announcement yesterday. If you have been living under a rock, he announced his intention to release a full size arcade project with various partners, including Sabos. And so we're all pretty excited to see what this is coming out. And in case you missed Super Game Room Dudes last night, I think Michael B let out there a little bit of some mock ups. So could this be what we're getting? An XL size Build-A-Cade? This is what Michael showed on the screen. Of course, it has that same kind of adapter that the other Build-A-Cade has, the current Build-A-Cade, the 1/6 scale Build-A-Cade, so you can convert this into a Nintendo style cabinet. So I'm interested in all your guys' thoughts. I know I think I saw Glen jump in there saying rest in peace A1 up. And as he rakes them over the back of the skull with that metal chair. Oh, all good, Michael. I like just showing from the stream itself. I didn't need some high res pic or anything. Because I wanted to make sure everybody knew where it came from. So, I'm interested in what you guys think because this would be not necessarily something that directly competes with Arcade One Up in and of itself. I get the feeling, right? This is more of a multicade. It's essentially Glen's great build-a-cade in a big scale if this is indeed what he ultimately releases. And Grateful Dead says, I'll never give up my AVP or Robotron, at least not from A1 up. Kevin says, Glenn will save us once if announced. I'm going to sell my at games. I want to get a multicade. Yeah, so I'll preface this right now. When it's out, I'll back this. I saw people throwing around in Papa Brad's 10,000th subscriber stream celebration today, a potential price point of $699, which is extremely reasonable for a full-size cab with the quality controls and stuff you'll get with that Glen puts out. Um, I don't I mean, all these Arcade1up things are kind of multicades, right? But they are replicas of the original cab. So I don't have a traditional multicade. The ALU I think is super ugly. It's never been something I've been interested in. I know people are big fans of the iArcade. That was another one I never really cared for because it didn't have the marquee and it just had an odd shape. This one has a much more normal arcade shape. But what I personally would really like, and I do like that this has the adapter to turn it into that Nintendo style, just like the 1/6 scale version, if this is indeed what comes out. I personally would prefer if we could get like our choice of different iconic form factors. So you could get a Midway version, you could get a Namco version, the Nintendo version, Capcom Dynamo version, so that you could the Atari version, so that you could kind of pick and choose your own wood, and then you can go out and get your own graphics. And Glenn mentioned last night he's been talking with the folks about getting an LED marquee on there, so you'd be able to swap that marquee with the different games you're playing. Of course, you're going to have control decks of Glens that are all high quality. Would love to see control decks that match certain games so that you could swap those out and not necessarily have like too much stuff on the control panel, but just enough. And then we can buy multiple control decks for additional money and just, a few screws, swap them out, drop them in to match whatever game we want to play. That would be like super cool. But for me, I really like the replica things because I like the way it all looks, and having something that can match the look of legitimate, in arcade, arcade cabinet that's in arcades would really, really be super appealing to me. And I think, as Brooklyn mentioned earlier, you could end up selling 2, 3, or 4 of these things to people if we could get them in those different form factors. That would be, I would definitely pony up for a few over time in order to do just that. I held out forever on on Glen's Akari sticks, because I was hoping that he was releasing a full size cab with New Wave Toys of Akari Warriors. That's really what I wanted. So instead, I tore apart an Arcade1up to build a replica Akari Warriors. So I would love to have something like that, replica heavy barrel Akari Warriors, you name it, full size, just all those different things. Penny Arcade says Glenn is a home arcade visionary. Absolutely. Jason Little Alien says he is grabbing one for sure. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be at games. If you're trying to launch your 4K alongside Glenn dropping something like this, um, you know, I know where my money would go. And my cock hurts. Thanks for dropping by. I'd get this with swappable decks versus the next ALU. Absolutely. I want to make one into Qbert. Yep. There's so many games, right? We can if with a few different options, we could finally get the replicas we actually want at the quality we want, something that is going to last, that is going to just give us everything we've wanted in a home arcade game. Hopefully, they're not too heavy. Hopefully, we're sticking with a lighter wood or MDF, so a single person can move these things around. Um, you know, I suppose minus the CRT, they're still going to be considerably lighter, but um, it would still be great if you could really keep these in light on the lighter side, because we like to change stuff around because that's what we do here. Donkey Kong would be the ideal full size cab for me. Kevin says a full size arcade machine would be amazing and would love playing some gun games. Oh yeah, yeah. Can you imagine, like, if you could get um, something like Operation Wolf with a mounted Uzi on there, so it actually plays like a game, because nobody's ever gonna make that, right? So get something that matches that look and feel. I know Glenn talked about Battlezone. How cool would that be? Silent scope with a sniper. That would be probably pretty expensive to pull off, with the sniper with the little LCD in the screen. I don't know how you could make that work, but it would be super awesome. Um, Something I would be super interested in. C-Mart says, would love to see a Sinistar control panel with proper joystick. Oh, yeah. Sergeant says, my dad has one of these at his house, but are there different brands to describe these arcade game machines? Not 100% sure what you mean there. I beat the Arcade Simpsons game once before. Yes, I did, on free play. Not shoving quarters in there. Ojib says this would be nice for not much space. Oh yeah. Yeah, like look, if you're in the market for a multicade, I have no doubt this is going to be the best one on the market. I think a lot of multicades look weird, right? I think, I know people love the at Games Legends Ultimate, but it has never been appealing to me because of how weird it looks, in my opinion. Plus, the 16:9 screen when I'm mostly playing 4:3 games, it's just problematic for me. P Dubs, well, you're our guest. You're our involuntary guest tonight, and your camera's frozen. So thanks for chatting, so everybody knows you're actually here. I'll pull that off the screen. Uh, Michael B says James uses all the time for clout. Yep. Yep. I always keep that on there. I've seen all those YouTuber polls, and P-dubs is always at the top. So I just keep P-dubs in the corner so that everybody knows this stream is endorsed by P-dubs. Alfred says, hey. Kevin says, can you put up a poll with P-dubs as an option? Actually, that I did want to drop a poll, and I was too busy not paying enough attention to actually enter it in earlier. So might as well do that right now. So you guys can talk amongst yourselves, give you some dead air, all this fun stuff. All right, sorry about that. Always fun to just stare at a blank wall while I bend over and type. So I appreciate you guys' patience there. Let's see here. And so I did drop the poll in the chat, of course. That's asking your opinion of this GRS full scale cab. Are you a must buy day one? I'm backing this thing as soon as it comes out. Is it a yes, I back it if it comes in a form factor I like? A maybe after I see some reviews and get to see how it works and looks, or it's just not a multicade's not for me kind of a thing. Really interested in what you guys have to hear. Don't want to sway anybody's opinion too early. As we talk about this, please be sure to check your IMs. Interesting. Well, little birdie sent me something. So you guys might want to see this. You have to give me a minute. All right, these are the points where you really need a co-host to fill the time gap as you get this stuff ready, right? All right, so apparently, Jason mentions here, got a little something that just got sent to me. So let's take a look. Look at this. This looks like a potential control panel for Glen's full-size cabinet. Got some speaker placements up here. That looks like a screen might be in a vertical format. Got that Akari stick. The Tron stick, a trackball, a spinner, all kinds of fun gadgets. And look at that form factor. There it is with the all together in that kind of Nintendo style cab with that front plexi and the screen back there. And Harley says, "Hey, I can actually chat here." You were read the riot act, P Dubs. He was. I'm under the wrong account. Interesting. Oh, now he's the Super Game Room dudes. Jason says, "You have messages waiting." Indeed, I did. So where's his $20 gift card? Sorry, catch up here. I want to see what you guys were saying about this control panel and this other drawing here. Let's see. Chris Ford says, "Even his dream." James hates everything, even his dream. Let's see here. I pictured as more of a full size build-a-cade more than a replica. It might be too costly to get a bunch of licenses unless he is gonna focus on. So I would imagine, and maybe Glenn, if he's in the chat, can correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know that you would have to actually license the cabinet design as a replica. For example, this is very, very, very close to the Nintendo when you have that full size piece, right? I don't think you're licensing the design from Nintendo because it's inspired by, it's very close, but you know, I don't think necessarily those designs are patented or trademarked. Because I think there's been mention that Arcade1up internally designed some of their replica designs that were modeled after the originals, and I don't think those were licensed. Penny Arcade says, "Glenn has earned my respect, and his products that I have bought have been stellar, so I am in day one." Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have a ton of Glenn's products because 'cause I'm not a big modder, but I do have the Akari sticks and the super sticks. They are fantastic. I mean, they are by far one of the coolest things I own. The versatility, like, he thought through every possible thing you could want. You can adjust that thing for different import input schemas, so different devices that you're connected to and what they take to read or support for different games. You can swap between how many iterations, so whether it's an 8 click or 16 or 20, I forget all the exact numbers, but the rotations on there for the spinner effect. You can, of course, position it in any different way to actually make it work, and then you can load the firmware and tell the firmware exactly how you've put it in there, so you can calibrate it. It's insane how many capabilities that thing has, and it works perfect. Like, I had no problem getting that thing plugged in, set up, running, um, with all those spinner games just inside of RetroArch in um, an Android APK. I mean, it's amazing how well those things work and operate, and everything he does, everybody just like glows over the quality of this stuff. P Dub says all he sees is a hat. That's probably when I was typing. You could wait for a crowd-funded generic multi-cade, but there are licensed, more powerful products in Q1. Yep, the Akari Tron Centipede cab. Not enough buttons. I think obviously we're getting a sample here of what all these things would look like and could do, how you could support all these different ones. Yeah, a lot of cool things were announced. Thumper says 4 8 way, 4 8 gate switch to, yeah. So Glenn kind of talked about all these things, maybe a mechanical mechanism to rotate the screen from vertical to horizontal, the auto gate switch, the different decks, the LED marquee, so many things. This thing would have more more bells and whistles and more options than about anything else I've even seen talked about on the market. And he's going to do whatever he can to get it at a great price. And he's got a bunch of great partners that he's mentioned that he's working with. It'll be interesting to see as he announces all those over time. Uh, Glen will probably rely on third parties such as Zabos. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what you want to do, right? And honestly, I am so glad that he's doing this because I've ideated on it a ton that I thought if anybody, like, we know we have all these different companies in this space that are all big fans of home arcades and replicas and multicades and everything else. And you had Glenn making all these like first class luxury controllers that are of the highest qualities. You had Zabos and other people making great graphics and marquees, and you have people like GI Joel and Buy Stuff and other people making the cabinet designs and making uh, monitor replacements, and you just name it. They're releasing so many different kits and things that you have all of these entrepreneurial people with the skills needed. And if we could just get them all working together to produce a competitive product, they could like literally take A1 out, A1 up out of the market to some extent. Yeah, licensing would be different, but if you do it in a multi-cade form and leave it up to people to do their kind of own thing, that's how you get around that a little bit, right? Like all the other multi-cades out there on the market. And who knows, maybe over time, or if they work with so they find people that can help with licensing. I know Glenn obviously licensed the Akari Warriors controller with SNK. So potentially, man, what if they brought some sort of SNK licenses? Obviously, those drive up the price, but there you go. Israel Gaming says, hello, James and Home Arcadians. Hope everyone is having a splendid evening. We are. Thank you very much, Israel. The Nintendo type look is an add-on, not a default. Yeah. But who isn't gonna do the add-on, right? Like who doesn't want a Donkey Kong or a Popeye sitting in their arcade? For me, that's quite frankly, for me, that's a must. I'm whatever the add-on is, I'm in on that one for myself. Ted Adam Green says, I have Tron stick on the right and joystick to the left and can work as dual for Robotron. Yeah, actually, uh, Glen's stuff was carried. I don't know if it still is just online and maybe not in store, but at Micro Center, they had Glen's stick in there. And I actually went in there to go buy some stuff. And about a couple weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago, and was because I was hoping to pick up some buttons and stuff for another one I'm working on. And they had stopped selling all their arcade stuff. They had a few things left, but they were like, they weren't what I needed. Like they had the real what were the buttons? They were smaller buttons. They were some I can't think of what the type was, but they weren't the normal size. They were real tiny. Is this going to have swappable decks or is this a static deck? From what Glenn had said, his intention I think was definitely swappable decks. This is an example of like the um the deck that he currently has out for several products that have all these options in a single deck. But definitely you can think of his Star Wars flight yoke, all those things having options that you could do. No complaints with the look, just wondering. Does the screen rotate? So that was, he was definitely talking about it. Said he mentioned he wanted to have a mechanical rotating screen, and I think he was getting some resistance to that, but that would be ideal. Even if it's a manual rotation, it would be a win, in my opinion. Zabos is awesome, but slow as molasses. Yeah, Thumper, you would hope um, he pre-produces a bunch of these for a run, so you're not waiting, right? So you don't have to wait for a long time. It's all part of that Kickstarter project, so everything's being kind of manufactured at once. Um, yeah, I mean, he is slow because he is in high demand and takes a lot to produce. I did hear from PD7. I don't know if you guys all watch PD7 all the time, but he found a little I don't know, call it a back door when ordering from Sabos. If you actually go onto eBay and order from there, you get it much quicker because they're probably ones he's already produced and ready to go. Hey, steak and fries, thanks for dropping by. John D says, how much do you think this will cost? So I do not know, but I saw some people throwing out a number that they're shooting for 699. Glenn says, average consumer, yes, but this crowd is interested in a room full of products and will probably get both. I want Sinistar with Laserdisc games such as Mach 3, Cobra Command, and Galaxy Ranger. Kevin says 7 to 800. Yeah, I think definitely by the time, like, let's say they can get it 699 for the base package. By the time you add shipping, you're at least at a 800, depending on how this thing ships. If they can ship it flat pack, um, yeah, I'm going to back it as well. You know, no matter, quite frankly, no matter what it is, because I want to see it become a success and see it get made. Support Glenn. You know, he's a guy who supports everybody else in this community and makes great stuff of the highest quality. So definitely want to show support. And plus, it looks cool. Uh, Plus, with GRS parts, it'll be consistent. Corner Kate is in the house wanting us to go somewhere. He's always wanting us to go somewhere. I've yet to figure out where we're going. He says, "Oh, I guess we're going to the Royal Rumble for the Home Arcade Royal Rumble." Oh, we're all posting this marketing and digital marketing manager job. So very interesting. So that's the SEO. Danny's applying. There you go. Have you managed any online marketing campaigns besides your YouTube channel, Danny? I'm just curious. Why didn't you come on the show Friday? I guess you could have been on Super Game Room Dudes. 758 50. Jason says top quality multicades will always have a place. There are hundreds of arcade games that will never have a 100%. And if I come to your arcade and I can't play Commando, Frogger, Mr. Do, yep. Well, that's what's great, right? Because every one of those games has a diehard fan with it, right? And so if you are a diehard, it would be great to be able to have the option of really doing your own and getting the skins you want in the form factor you want. But yeah, absolutely. Like all of these have value when you have a marquee game and then have some other ones on there you can play, whether that's a handful or it's every, it's hundreds and hundreds of arcade games. Um, uh, Says no way competes with A1up. A1up isn't going anywhere with me there. I am the head of the table. Yeah, so yeah, if a straight multicade versus the replica, I think is you know two different customers. Obviously, there's some overlap, right? To paraphrase Kamala Harris, Venn diagrams. There's some overlap for sure, but they are, I think, a big different market. And looks like we have another super chat from Kevin Clausen, who wants some attention from the iconic arcade for you Canadian and European fans. Appreciate the super chat, Kevin. Yeah, this guy, John D, any positions open at Media1up? Totally understand the perspective. We can't wait to see what Media1up does. Yeah, so that's really, obviously Glenn entering this space as well, making his announcement that they're working on something with a bunch of partners is welcome news, right? And it is now what the third or fourth company that is kind of throwing their hat in the ring. We have, of course, Media1up, John D, formerly of Arcade1up. We now have this rumored Centipede XL cab from basic fun. We have hints of new wave toys potentially doing something in the future. You have to wonder if that's still the case with Glen doing his own at the same time, and now GRS. So you could have 3 or 4 competitors entering kind of this replica home arcade space over the next, 6 to 12 months. And yeah, I mean, that is going to be one great for all of us because we're going to have lots of options, lots of different products we can get excited about and talk about. And two, it may force our Arcade One Up to either get better or completely change their focus. And, you have to wonder if they're already not changing their focus based on some of the moves they've been making. And I'll tell you, like, all due respect to Danny and the Cornercade, I had a chance to play the Slim Katie from Arcade One Up, see it in person, see this thing positioned in a room, play it. I'll be dropping as part of another video because I went to got some footage of from Books a Million. I've got that, got some other things I'm gonna release in the next few days in a video. But oh my god, that thing is worse than you could ever possibly imagine. And I know, yes, if you pull it out from the wall and you sandwich it in between 2 other cabs, you could convince yourself that, hey, it's a normal NBA Jam 2-player cab. But I'm telling you, it's not. It's like standing by itself. It is so thin. It is so weird looking up against a wall that I was like, I don't know why anybody would even buy this one. And it's funny because where I saw it, it was essentially 2 feet over next to a Shack Jam. So you had this XL NBA Jam next to this Slim Katie that barely stuck out from the wall. It was so weird looking. Honestly, they should have just released NBA Jam as a partycade. That would have been the same thing and at least made more sense. I was dumbfounded at how bad that thing was in person. The marquee's beautiful. It's a great marquee. I'm sure the game plays fine. Like NBA Jam's played fine on all their cabs. The screen was fine, but the presentation, the cabinet that it comes in, the look, what it is, ooh, it is astonishingly thin. Like you can read the numbers, you can imagine it from the pictures, but seeing it in person really, really, I mean, that's you have to see it in person. It's so bad. Stupid Fat Hobbit says anyone that produces new licenses can compete with Arcade One Up right now. Even triple A's like titles like Moon Patrol Cab right now would sell out. Certainly would be a lot of people excited because we're excited for anything new at this point. Humper Squid is sharing too much information. Vic Vicious, thanks for dropping by. Says I just wish someone would create single game arcade accurate arcade cabs like they were back in the 80s. Let's see here. We've got still think John D and Basic are in collab. Yeah, so yeah, John's floating around in the chat. Maybe if he's still here. I would love to know if this and of course if it is, he's not going to tell us. If this Centipede XL is a John D joint. So isn't stable. I didn't say that. I think it's probably fine from a stability standpoint. It just looks terrible. It looks super, super thin. I mean, I think somebody I don't remember who said it first. It looks like it's an arcade trying to bust out of the wall or melt it into the wall. Truly what it looks like. It is weird. Would you say the same with the MVSX? Um, so no. I think when I've seen the MVSX, it feels like it's deeper. I know it's more shallow than an Arcade One Up, but I don't own one, but I've seen one in person just not too long ago, It's one I want to own. And I didn't really feel like that looked like it was melding out of the wall. Um, yes, it's thinner, but it doesn't look, I mean, it really looks awkward on that one. James, how are you doing tonight? Chat. Let's see. My NBA Jam Party Cane plays fine too. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're thinking about the Slim Cade, you should just get a Party Cade. The ugly Cade. My cock hurts. Just put together the original SF2 CE head to head yesterday that I found on storage. It's actually pretty nice. Yeah. And Jason says that. Hello, Goofy Foot. And Vic Vicious says Slim Katie, in my opinion, is a train wreck. Just stay with the Deluxe XL. Yes. And that is what Glen's new cab is giving us, right? You have the Build-A-Cade design potentially with that add-on to make it look like the Nintendo style cab. It'd be great if you could figure out how to do other adapters to get the Namco design and maybe some alternate form factors as well to get some of the other famous cab designs. And I wanted to take a look at something and I can't freaking remember. It's been one of those days. I was up like way too late last night working on those stupid toy videos all night. Dundee says, someone read my tweet and super chat it. While I'm looking that up, guys, the we mentioned DMAC leaving, and I posted in uh my community posts that he did leave a message on Twitter. If you guys missed that, you really should go read it. It was a nice little, talk about his time at Arcade1up and with this community, with you, all of you. And he's met a lot of you at various conventions and events and on live streams. And I definitely think you should go, if you haven't already, go read that on X. Give him some words of encouragement. You never want to see anybody lose their job. And he's worked with At Games and through another partner, and then A1up, and I'm sure he'll show up at another company, perhaps Media1up. So I'm going to go ahead, and since I've seen both Glenn and John in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and read John's tweet here. And I would put it up on screen, but I'm just looking at it on my phone. So I'm going to read it here. It says, there's been drama, unfortunately, between me and Glenn of GRS products. For the good of the home arcade community, I'd like to squash things so our community can have peace and unity. The YouTuber who can get me and him on a live show, I'm in. Please share this post. So, I think I saw both Glenn and John in the chat. You are both welcome to jump on. I will have you both on. I'll stay out of it. You guys can talk if you want to do it right now. I think it would be great. I think a lot of people would love to see that squashed. So you can do it right now if you guys are both open to it. I'll send you both a link. Just shoot me a DM or a message and let me know. Otherwise, obviously anybody I'm sure would be happy to have you both on there, even if you do it private. Like it would be great to see you guys squash that and come together, whether it's just in peace, right? You don't have to be partners and buddies, but to be what we're saying. We all want happiness, right? We support all you guys and want to see you both make all successful because we're greedy and we want the products we want. But seriously, right? We would love to see you guys be able to squash that. Glenn says, I have to say, you guys have no idea. Yeah. Yeah. You know, have no doubt. But just know, obviously, the invitation's out there. If you guys ever want to, I'm sure anybody on any one of the streams or shows would be happy to do that. I would recommend you do it kind of offline first, right? See if you guys can get together and hash it out. But I think we'd all love to see that. Um, but while those two guys are, talking, I did want to show a stupid thing I did the other day. Um, and I'll tell you why it's stupid. So I picked this up. You guys recognize this? I don't need one of these, and I don't want a PlayStation 5 Pro, but I gotta say, seeing that 30th anniversary PlayStation really kind of made me go, maybe I do want a Pro just for that. And the controller is amazing. And I was in a store and they actually had these because these are sold out everywhere. And so when I saw it, I was like, all right, I'll just buy it on the off chance that I'm lucky enough to be one of the 12,000 people to actually get the 30th anniversary PS5 Pro. I won't be because the bots will take them all, I'm sure. But just in case, I have the drive now ready to go. And if I don't, then I'll just get rid of it and take it back or sell it or whatever. But the main reason I was there was I also got one of these. So I haven't decided whether to actually open this or not, but I'm super excited. I could not find these anywhere, and so glad I walked in and found that Astrobot controller because they have been impossible to find. But I am really that game's so awesome, and definitely one of the best games on the PS5. And I'm fired up to at least have the controller that's shown throughout the game. Kevin Clausen is back with another $2 super chat. Says, I have beef with 19K Fox. My wife screamed his name. Are you sure it was your wife, Kevin, and not you screaming his name? Just saying. Just wondering. Brooklyn, yeah, I seen your I think you showed it when we were on stream the time flies a few months ago. Yeah, super cool. Like I didn't even know that thing existed when you showed it. And so this 30th looks amazing. I just wish that we could get it through something other than Sony Direct because that just screams bot activity and you'll never get it. Let's see. Yep, trying to get that 30th Pro. Danny, are you going live? Yeah, this is one of those things is none of my business and should stay private. Nice. Yeah, I didn't pre-order it, and by the time I got around to it, they were all gone. You couldn't pre-order anywhere. Keep it sealed. They're going to be worth a lot. Yeah, I mean, I have no need to open it. I have multiple PS5 controllers, so I still, still want to kind of open it. If it was, I know these dots are just painted on, but if that was actually an LCD and they moved like it does in the game, I would probably open it because it's a cool gimmick. But it's not. It's not. It's just printed on there or whatever. Um, I can be up all night. Let me know. Please don't handle your. Yep. Yeah. There you go. Uh, yeah. So I would say to some of that, right? Which will let me get to Penny Arcade's $2 super chat. Says, no worry, Kevin. I screamed yours. Excellent. Yeah. So appreciate. Thank you, Penny Arcade, for the super chat. My advice would be to talk things through in private and then go on somewhere together as a somewhat united or at least cordial front if you get that far. Because yeah, probably not a lot of good can come out of doing something on a live stream, right? If things get heated, things get said, it's you know how it is. Um, if let's see, I'm gonna skip some of those. Yep. Oh, it was after the stream. There you go. Yeah, it was awesome, Brooklyn. Like I thought it was cool. And I don't know why I just seeing the controller of the 30th was super, super cool. Like I was like, oh, because the plates are just gray plates. Maybe it's got that vintage logo on there, but it was the controller that got me. It was like, oh man, that looks so good. Let's see. Breaking news. Let's see. Mike Hawkhurst says, I'm going to wait until next year to visit the PS5 Pro. Just pre order the new X Arcade stick and pedestal. Well, that's interesting. I'd love to hear how that is because it says it's unbreakable. So I want you to try to break it. No, just kidding. Um, when the 20th anniversary went out for sale, the whole site crashed. Oh, yeah, it 100% will. And they'll have, we're 10 years removed, 15 years removed, whatever it is. And yeah, I guess it's 30th, so it's 10. And with all these bots, like it's ridiculous. Like you can't even go like there's when San Diego Comic-Con exclusive figures come out, like and they're only available like through Mattel's website, like it crashes. Like and those companies have been dealing with that over and over with every one of these exclusive releases, and they still don't do anything about it to make sure that doesn't happen. Let's see. Let's see. We're a long way. Yeah, so I'm gonna skip most of these. I'm texting Sean Calvin Wong and congratulations, Brad. He had his 10,000th sub celebration. If you guys missed that, I think a lot of you were in there. So congrats to him. He's been doing YouTube a long time and I think that was the most impressive thing to me, Brad, was the thousands of videos you've done. That is a boatload of work. I gotta take more turns. Uh, oh, okay. Brooklyn says, if I can get a 30th Pro, I will open that one and use it for my PS. Yeah, I will definitely open it if I get it and use it. I don't, I don't care that much about keeping. Carl says James going to have to end the stream before it gets out of hand. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Carl. We're about at an hour anyway, so this is normally when I wrap up. Yeah, 2,700. That's an unfathomable amount of videos and work, but, you've been doing it, what? I think I saw 14 years. That's a long time. A lot of videos, so congrats. Um, will the claw machine save them? Well, who knows? I'll tell you, I want it, but I will say I want that claw machine. I make no qualms about it. That's probably the most exciting thing I've wanted for Arcade1up for the last 2 years. But, of the products they've announced. But the more I look at it, the more I get a little worried. I think it looks awesome, and I think what worries me is those giant balls that are in it. Because if you look at how big the prize receptacle is, you only have enough room for 1 row of those balls behind it, and then like 2 off to the right. So it's a huge receptacle compared to where the prize area is. And so I don't know if those balls will actually come in it or not. I suspect they will, so that at least you have something to use on the claw machine before you put your own prizes in it or whatever. But um, it's it does worry me that it's that shallow in the back. So we'll have to see because I'll guarantee you, I'm going to buy that the second thing it comes out because I've wanted a claw machine so bad, and I continue to see all these people say like you can get claw machines cheap. And it's like, man, I wish you could where I lived because I would buy them in a heartbeat, and I just can never find one. Uh, yeah. So, yeah. So there's a big super chat. So I'm gonna put it on the screen because again, I appreciate the support, but um, um, again, it's I'll just leave that up there for what it is. Let you guys read it if you want to. Again, appreciate the super chat, but really think, um, you guys ought to understand there's some beef and warranted, for things that have happened. Hope you guys can eventually find some way. Maybe now is not the time. Maybe at a future date, you guys can find some common ground. But I know there's a lot of history there. So totally get that. Um, who doesn't love to to grab giant balls? Who's got big balls? Arcade1up's claw machine's got big balls. Arcade1up don't have the balls to release that claw machine, so it would probably just come with stuffed animals. Uh, a lot of calls for that show. Yeah, let's see here. You've heard the stories. We'll have some child try to climb inside the claw machine. Oh yeah, for sure. Like hopefully it's small enough. Keep in mind these things aren't super big. You're looking at a deluxe style footprint, so 22 inches roughly, um, you know, wide and depth wise. So that hole's probably a foot. So and potentially could try to get in there, but hopefully it's smaller than that. Sorry, sorry, Glenn. I tried not to post anything, so I'll keep this up. And you said you responded. If I missed it. Because that was not intentional. I was trying not to elevate the arguments, Glenn, like to be, I want keep things cordial before they get out of hand. So you know, um, I'm gonna leave this up there because I want, make sure Glenn has a chance to respond, but I'm not gonna this is probably the last thing I'll show up here on this as part of this because we want peace, love, and harmony. Um, yeah, I mean, said just keep guys doing what you're doing and putting out good products. That's what we want. That's what the community wants. We hope someday you guys can find common ground, but again, no, there's a lot of stuff that happened there, and um, but and old wounds are hard to heal. But with that, like I'm going to go ahead and say, we've been an hour. I appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. Really do. All that aside, try try to remember the positivity, all the good things that all these great entrepreneurs and arcade aficionados are bringing to all of us, all those good products, and looking forward to the future and supporting all of these guys because they make great stuff. Glenn has great products. Looking forward to what GRS is coming out with. Kevin drops in with another super chat. My wife wants 19K Fox. Please ban him from the show. There you go. Uh, Thanks for the super chat, Kevin. Papa says, I make a peace sign in every video. Absolutely. Um, Again, guys, everybody, thanks for joining us. I really, really do appreciate you dropping by and coming in and hanging out and talking about all these great things that are happening. I know there's stuff going on in the chat, and we hope everybody can at least make peace in a way. You know, you don't have to be friends, but hopefully can make some peace because everybody in the home arcade just wants to see great products from great companies. And that's what we're looking for and we'll continue to look for. And as always, guys, until next time, have fun.